Welcome to the Four Rooms podcast, where we explore the four rooms of entrepreneurship: health, wealth, scale, and relationships. Each episode is dedicated to opening new doors and uncovering insights that empower you to design your entrepreneurial journey to be both lucrative and fulfilling. And now, your hosts, Amber Spears and Brett Kaufman.
The Four Rooms podcast, where I'm here with my boy, co-founder of Bad Marketing, stands for bold and disruptive. I love saying that. Eddie Maalouf, my guy, dude. I'm excited to do this with you today. I was just asking you a question before this: is what does it look like if I come into your office or in your company? I have a feeling that there's a lot of young, really smart kids that grew up with cell phones in their hands working in there, because every time I see anything that you do, it's so beautifully done. It's beautifully done. It's like cutting edge. It's trending. It feels viral. Like everything you're doing, like feels like you have probably an army of maybe barely 18-year-olds drinking 17 Red Bulls, every morning, just like creating all this stuff for you. Like, what is happening in your company to have that kind of growth?
Like, honestly, we used to have like a really young staff, and as you grow a marketing agency, like obviously pros are they're like young and they get what the TikTok world looks like and all these things,
right?
But the cons are they've never worked like real jobs, so they don't really understand like what's good and bad. And in the world of today, where everyone makes everything look awesome online,
right,
it's kind of hard to appreciate like what's good, because your perspective is different. It's like, in a way, it's like porn.
Right.
People are that's what they're attached to, and so they can't get turned on by like normal things. And so it's the same with like people who are young who don't have jobs, because they're like, oh, my job sucks, but like your job's incredible, and you should ask your friends who actually have normal jobs how much they hate their bosses and how much they care about them and like all these things. So we need a shift actively to try to hire older people.
How's that working out? Was that like dynamic?
It's awesome. So our average age went from like 23 to like 31 in the company, and it's awesome. I mean, I'm 30, so like 31 is still super childishly young, right? But like we 25-year-olds straight out of college who like understand that place and all that stuff, and it was kind of hard to like glow the company, because we're always like trying to teach them things that they should already know, like how to show them to work. You know what I mean? Like,
show up to a Zoom call not looking disheveled. I've been there with young ones.
We like ban like vapes on calls, because like we get on the call like
they're vaping. Stop.
You can't like I know you like it, you can't. Like,
Dude, that's absolutely millennials, right?
We need a mix of both.
Okay,
right?
got it.
On an internal contact team, it's younger.
Got it.
Like, I don't need them to.
Well, that's why I look so savage.
Exactly.
Right.
They're like, they just like are always watching things. This thing happened on Twitter and Reddit, and like they're into that world, right? So it makes it easier for me to talk with them, because I can play both sides. I'm in that world, but the other side too. And then if you talk to like my email team, they're like military, like laser focused. Like if you're not up to par, you're off the team right away. Like they're different, right? Their average age is probably like 33, 32, whereas my internal team's average age is probably like 22. You know what I mean? So
right.
Each team is different, right? Each one. My developer team is older.
Because you got like 200 people now, right? Yeah.
So like, I think it's based on the role, right?
Right.
Like my dev team is like, average age is probably like 38, 40 maybe, because like I want them to have 15, 20 years of developing experience.
Of course.
You can't get that at 20. You know what I mean? So every role is different, but if you walk in my office, everyone's young, everyone's friendly, everyone's ambitious. We have like some people working on beanbags, some people working outside on a picnic table in the back to get some sunlight, some people working at their desks. So everyone kind of has their own space. It's pretty cool, but we also get to like mess around together.
I love it. And are you in office like every day, or like you travel a lot, but like what's your...
When I'm here, I'm in office like 4 days a week.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So we make 4-day office day, Fridays work from home day. Anyone can work from home anytime they want, but like we really want you guys to be now that my wife's having a child, I'll work from home. So like this week, I only work from the office Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I was from home. So
makes sense. She's about to pop, right? Any hour, right? Yeah.
The bag is packed.
Yeah.
Just throw it on and get in the car, or going to the hospital.
How excited are you to be a 2-kid household now?
I'm very excited, also very stressed at the same time. But I'm like, I don't pre-worry about things. I'm like, if I worry, it's not going to change my outcome.
So true, man.
I like don't even think about it. Like from that side, I'm like, I can't wait. I'm great. There's going to be a lot of problems, but like, I'll deal with them when they come. So now I'm like, well, in a way, like trying to work more to like get things out the way so that I'm prepped when that happens. But
how do you train your brain to be like that? Because like, I know so many entrepreneurs, like that's one thing I keep seeing from high level entrepreneurs like you. Like I hear some people saying like, oh, they have fear when they wake up every morning and they override it. But I feel like for you, one of the reasons why I told you I want to do this, I want to like just get a deeper look inside your brain. It's like, I don't feel probably like, maybe I'm wrong, but do you wake up with fear or you just wake up and you just execute? Like your brain seems to operate with positivity. It's like an interesting thing to me to look at. Like I don't see very many people like that usually.
Yeah. So two things. One, since maybe like the age of, I don't know, 17, like I've gone into like law of attraction and like understanding like frequency and like what I put out is what I get back. And so I'm very like over positive. I don't know what the word is, like over optimistic. I'm always like over optimistic. Like you go in and go to like buy a company, right? I'm like, oh, I'm going to build this to $100 million. Like I see it, it's right there. And like my CEO's like, slow down, red flag. You know? So like,
right.
I'm always over optimistic, and I believe like net result will be a lot better than being over pessimistic, right? So I always look at the outcome of things in a good way. Like if someone tells me something, I assume they're saying it for my own benefit. Like if I'm going to do something, I assume that we're going to make it happen. Like when I build my companies, I don't assume. I think a lot of people put like, oh my gosh, what if we fuck up and run out of business? Whereas like that's not even like an assumption for me. Obviously, I'm looking for things that like are threats to us and like where we can improve, but like losing is just like not an option ever. And probably since I was like, again, like 17, 18, I'm like, once I understood law of attraction, I really felt like I could get whatever I want in life. And it's just a matter of like getting it. Things are going to stop me or slow me down from getting there. Cool. But like, if I decide that I'm going to do something or I'm going to be the best at something or I'm going to achieve this thing, then the real only thing stopping me is just like me bitching out at some point and not getting it done. Right. So that's how I operate.
Yeah.
And so over time, there's cons to it. Like I'm kind of emotionless. Not none of this, like you see me, I'm emotional.
You are.
Like I can like poker face anything. Like my brother got kidnapped and like my whole family's like bawling out, crying. Like my wife's like, is he dead? Like what's the situation? I'm just like,
you're in action mode.
I'm like straight face, like, hey, nothing to worry about here. Don't complain. Like I got it. I'm getting on the call with that, like, you can kill him. You know what I mean? Like I just like taking risks. And I'm like, I feel like when I'm in an emotional state, I can't operate like that. You know what I mean? I will make decisions based on wrong emotions versus like, what do I really believe are the best chances for me to like get this correct? And I have to think that way. And once you cloud it with like fear, especially fear, then you make wrong decisions because you're playing as if you're scared, not as if you're trying to win. You know what I mean?
Totally, dude. So much gold that you just dropped on there. Yeah. It's like, I'm curious, like, what got you to read that book, Law of Attraction? Like, how did that come into...
I did network marketing.
Okay, you did network marketing.
Have you ever done network marketing?
Totally. Melaleuca, like what? Yeah. Totally. Door-to-door sales. I've done that too, yeah.
So I did that a lot. In that, which is cool. In network marketing, like, if you reflect on it, like, from my standpoint, what they did really well was they, like, got us all into personal development. So instead of, like, sitting there and individually training everyone, they, like, watch this video, watch this guy, he talks about this, read this book about this. And they did a good job just like individually building us all up, which made us a better organization.
Totally.
Made us better people, right? So that's where I got into like personal development was network marketing. That's why I always say it's like one of the best things that's ever happened because I started looking into books and YouTube videos of people talking about mindset and like all these things that you're just like rah, whatever, right? But then over time you start learning it, you're like, I can do whatever the fuck I want, actually. I just need to like reframe my brain to believing that as opposed to most people think everything's hard. Like if I go and tell my normal group of friends right now who all do well, they have 6-figure jobs, like if I go tell them something like audacious, they'll be like, okay. Or like,
give me an example.
I'm gonna go buy this restaurant and I'm gonna open up another location. Okay, bro. Right.
And you just did it.
And I haven't done it on a location.
Right? Well, you bought your first one.
It's unrealistic for them that would happen. Whereas with me, I'm like, oh, it's realistic. It's just a matter of like, is it 3 years, 5 years, 7 years? Like,
right? How
long is it going to take me to do this? But that's not a question for me. It's going to happen. You know what I mean? So that's how I approach everything. And so it makes you naive in a way, but I think I win a lot more doing this than the opposite, which is like losing out on a lot of opportunities because I'm pessimistic about them.
Sounds like you block out a lot of that. Like it's almost like like when I hear that, it's almost like a racehorse with the blinders on, where you're looking at, like, if I'm doing something, I'm going to go in to win. I'm not going to allow myself to look at all the ways it could go wrong.
Yeah.
Like I'm betting on myself. I'm keeping like my eyes on my race, and I'm going to give myself the best shot.
For sure. But don't get me wrong, all the good things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
You have to, because like you can't control everything, but you can like observe it all and make a decision how you want to play based on the threats that are there, right? But I like in general, I really try my best to exclude like negative things, like drama. I can't even like, you'll never ever, if someone ever says Eddie was in some sort of drama, they're lying. I just like my own mother, who I love to death. Like if she starts like gossiping, I'm like, hey, no. She's like, hey, why aren't you like talking? I'm like, I just don't care about this conversation. Like that's how I am. I'm like, I'm not gonna talk shit about it. Like I'm ready to hang out with you, like not to like go talk about this other person. So like, because we're talking about them negatively.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm like,
if you're talking about positively, then different.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a negative thing. I'm like so anti-negative that it's like that.
That's probably because I feel that around you. Like every time I'm around you, I'm like, man, you're such like you can feel the energy is very palpable in terms of positivity. Like, and I love that about you.
Same to you though, right?
Appreciate that.
You're always just a walking bubble of joy around the rooms.
I mean, I've had to work so much on like, that's why I'm so curious about you, because I'm like, I sometimes meet people and I might be guessing, so I'm going to do it live, but like, I feel like you were really well loved as a child. Because like I feel like for me, a lot of my inner work, like I've always been a bundle of joy, but I have insecurities and fears that like a lot of times rise up and like bite me. And I think some of that has to do with like all the unlearning that I've done from like my childhood. And when I see you, when I first met you, I was like, oh, one of my first thoughts, because I don't get it often. I was like, oh, this person was someone who was really well loved, like as a child. I could be off that, but I just feel like for you, when I see you, it's like, it's somebody that how you treat others, especially like I do see you coming with like, you have my best intentions at heart. Whereas like people who have had really troubled childhoods, I see them tend to not see people on that light you have. So I'm wondering if it's like a nurturing thing mixed with mindset and like if it's nature and nurture, or if like there was something else underneath. I'm like really curious about that.
So my family definitely took care of me really well. We had a great childhood. We weren't like stupid rich or anything like that, but we were definitely well off. Like we never were like, oh, we can't go play soccer because we don't have money. You know what I mean? Like we did activities that we wanted to do.
It's more like the love. Like I feel like you were loved and like adored.
They definitely loved me, but they also like really did a good job keeping me strict and disciplined.
Powerful. Well, that's love though. That's also love. Yes, that is love, absolutely love.
So like, for example, in high school, I never got to go on spring break with friends. I went and worked with my dad.
Love it.
He's like, okay, you got 9 days straight. You got to contribute to the family.
Hell yeah.
Over me, and you're putting down flooring this week. So we were over just like, if I got a 99 on a test, my mom would be like, why don't you? Not like, great job. Like,
right. Because she knows what you're capable of.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
Course. So my upbringing definitely created me as the person I am. And something my dad always did was like, I watched my dad get like screwed by other people. You know, like he was always like the bigger person. He never like talked trash about anyone. It was like I've watched my dad for like 30 years, and if someone says anything about my dad that's bad, I'm like you're lying to my face.
Yeah,
I've seen it all. You know, I've seen every scenario he's been in, and I'm like, if this guy can be like so nice to everyone, like, and I realized that it's okay to be that guy instead of like being the other guy that everyone wants to be all macho and like rude to people if someone's rude to them or whatever. Like he just like was really good at being passive about things and like not causing problems and like anti-drama. And so I got a lot of that from him. But I was driving to college. This is kind of like the shifting moment of my life. So basically like my dad was driving to college, first year in university, he's taking me to the dorms or orientation, whatever. And like we were talking in the car, and then it's like at about an hour, 15-minute drive. And like the last like 45 minutes were kind of quiet. I'm like, make it to myself. And I was like, you know what? I just realized like, this is like when Facebook existed, but Instagram didn't still, or Instagram was just coming out. There was like not much social media. And I was like, you know what? Like I've been in the same middle school. I've been in the same high school, you know, like same friends. Like everyone has like this preconceived notion of who I am. Like I was like, I'm driving to like another university where like no one knows who I am. I can be whoever I want. Like, I don't have to be like the chubby kid who like is kind of timid and like scared to talk to people. I could be like the outgoing guy who can talk to anyone I want to talk to. You know, I could be the guy who's like not scared to talk to girls. I can get any girl I want. I could be the guy who like is like the person who everyone wants to party with instead of not getting invited to the party. So like I was like, I can be whoever I want. It kind of clicked in that moment. It was a weird something.
Fresh start. Yeah.
I was like, I can be whoever I want from today forward. Like, no one knows anything about me. They don't know. They don't know who my exes are. They don't know who. They don't know the jokes that I told the class. They don't know when I got picked on. Like, they don't. They just have the perception of like, from the moment they meet me onward, who am I? And I was like, so today I'm changing. Today I want to be a guy that people want to hang out with. I want to be the guy that people want to talk business with. I want to be the guy that does this. I was like, that's what. And so like I like changed my identity on that drive, and like I acted like it. So like from that day forward, I never went back to like a timid person or like someone who's scared of doing things. Or I was like, I do whatever I want moving forward.
So was that you before? Like, and you said 17 when you read The Law of Attraction. So had you read that and then you started going, or is this after? Okay, you read it after.
I read it after. But
so already before you had the understanding that it's your identity.
Yeah, I was like, no one
that needed to change. Yeah, that's really interesting.
I was like, yeah, I could literally delete my Facebook if I wanted to.
Yeah,
and like they would have no existence of me, and they would just be whatever I am. Like,
wow,
if I show up to class, I'm like the cool, fun person, then they're like, Eddie's a cool, fun guy.
Dude, that thought is like God. It's like so interesting because like that's not a normal thought that you get from like some like, you know what I mean? Especially if you hadn't been reading the books and like, and if you're saying that you wanted to change your identity, your pre-identity, was it somebody that was like chubby? Like what was it? Like what were you before you decided to make that identity?
I just like, so I was in a class where like I was the kid that wasn't the white kid, and I was also like the chubby kid. So like I had some things to overcome in a way, like self-confidence wise, right? Like I wasn't the team captain of the basketball team. I wasn't the football captain. You know what I mean? Like all these roles in high school that are like the ones that you look up to in a way. I was very intelligent on paper. Like I could like see through an entire semester and get the highest grade, right? But like I wasn't like we all got along. I still friends with a lot of people in high school, but like I wasn't like the cool kid, right? So I was like, I could be if I wanted to.
You're a cool kid now.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That happened that day.
Right? That was so powerful.
I'm a different guy. So in college, I like to think of myself as I was definitely like a cool kid in college. Like everyone wanted to come to my parties or my pre-games or my whatever it was, right? Because like I built that network and that it was just the same personality you see today was like what I was back then. But like, in high school, I wasn't that outgoing. You know what I mean? I was timid. I was kind of scared to do things. In college, I was like, 2 years into college, I wanted to start a supplement company. And I like went and like, I was like, I'm 18, 19. Like, I can get a meeting with billionaire supplement company. And I did.
That's awesome. Who'd you get a meeting with?
Like sports supplements.
Okay. Yeah.
I took the top 15 companies in the US by like sales. And I had meetings with like 12 of them.
That's amazing, dude. What did you say to them? Like,
I went through a guy. Like I knew someone who was a distributor for them who knew them all personally. And then like I built my story with him and then he sold me to them. And then I got on those meetings,
relationships,
their companies to like doing all their marketing and stuff. So it was cool because I was like, I can do this. Like, I can't even legally drink, but like I can do this. And everyone's like, that's possible. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, it's not. I just need to like get there. Like,
right.
I know someone who knows someone. I have a way. I gotta find it. So.
If you're looking to get even more from the Four Rooms podcast, you don't want to miss our exclusive newsletter. This is your personal invitation to join a community of like-minded entrepreneurs who are all about balancing health, wealth, scale, and relationships. Each week, we're going to bring you additional insights, tips, early announcements, and other information that we just can't fit into this podcast episode. Plus, it's a great way to keep the conversation going and ensure you never miss a beat in your entrepreneurial journey. It's easy to subscribe. Just visit fourroomsmastermind.com, scroll to the bottom of the page, and enter your email. That's fourroomsmastermind.com, and just enter your email. We promise to keep things light, keep your inbox interesting, informative, and fun. Join the Four Rooms community today, and let's grow together.
I think that's when like my life changed, and it's a very important mentality shift because like I still believe it's true today. Like if you identify personally as like someone who's like I get emotional over things, and like things are sad, and like that's how you think, like that's how you're gonna be. You know what I mean? If you're like, life is great, like I can do whatever I want to do, like and that's how you act, people will feel that, and people will be attracted to it, and that's who they'll think of you as. So I think it's all just a really self-identity.
Dude, it's so powerful. I mean, the core of all like personal development, that's like one of the key things is the shift of identity. I think it's the thing that a lot of people struggle with, right? It's like, if you shift your identity and become this person, what you did was you knew that you wanted to become a different person, but then you also had the action. I think the law of attraction where people get stuck is like, I'll just think my way into it.
Yeah.
You have to think your way into your new identity, and then you have to behave as if you are already that person. And then eventually you become that person as you go, right? So I think that's like the missing link, and you got it like right away. You talked about your dad a little bit. Like, what's your mom like? What's your relationship with your mom like? How is she like growing up?
Great relationship. My mom is the reason I'm strong. My dad is the reason that I'm kind and creative.
Wow.
So, I guess it's less of like my mom is very strong, and that some people can't be friends with her because she's so strong.
Like, strong personality.
So my strength.
I'm dating one of those.
Yeah. She'll put her foot down.
Yeah, my girlfriend will too. Boundaries.
So some people will view it as rude.
Yeah.
She'll view it as like, I'm not dealing with that. You know what I mean? Like, no one runs over me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I learned that mentality from her, whereas my dad's the exact opposite. Like, my dad will actually, like, I've seen my dad get run over by people who shouldn't be screwing him, but they are, because he's so nice. He's like, oh, it's okay. Like, someone will steal from me. He's like,
does your mom go beat them up after? Or?
But my mom, like, like she'll make sure they know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I got that from my mom. So very like my outgoing side of my personality comes from my mom, because like she's always not afraid to go. Like, for example, like little things like we used to raise money for a church gala event. She'll go and like solo sling like 70 grand of tickets. Like seriously. That's amazing. I see her like sell a guy, and then she'll sell 10 more to the same person.
Oh my God. I love her. Yeah.
Like, so like seeing that side of her was awesome. And then on my dad's side, like being very kind and like being creative. I'd see him like late at night, like sketching ideas that he had and things like that. And so my math and numbers and creative side of my brain comes from my dad. My like sales side probably comes from my mom, I'd say. Just like the go-getter mentality side, and that's kind of both in personalities. They clash because of it. They're like, right, like, and
also love each other because of it. It's an attraction also. Exactly. Yeah.
And like, so like if something happens drama wise, like my dad's like whatever, and my mom's like, no, we're gonna make sure to know. You know what I mean? And they're like, it's like exact opposite. So but I think as a child I was observant, especially as I got older, and I started realizing like, what do I want for each one and what do I not want? So like, for example, like my dad like never got home before maybe like 8 o'clock, let's say, right? Like, but I looked forward to so many moments and like taking me to school in the morning, because it was like the only time I got to spend that week, example, right? Because he worked so hard.
Yeah.
He had to make it. So I was like,
and what does he do? Or what did he do at the time? Yeah. So it's hard labor.
Like installing wood all day and carpet, and then like getting up the next morning at like 5 to do it again, and then like job wouldn't finish till 8. So like it was a lot, and so like he wasn't as involved with us as like, it's not like my dad like was like gone,
right? You know, he was working.
Like, he just wasn't like there for a lot of big moments in a way. I'm like, that's something I don't want to do. Well, I want to be able to take my daughter to gym class. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to take her to soccer. I want to be able to take her to school. Like, I have a friend who's driven their kids to school every single day since they were born. Like, since they started going to school, he's driven his daughters to school every single day. That's so sweet. They want to do shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, so you take things that they didn't do or couldn't do, and you observe, and I look at it and say, what do I want or what do I not want based on my own experience, so I can give that to my children. You know what I mean? So
that's so powerful, dude. The contrast is so powerful. Have you ever heard the story of the two brothers with an alcoholic father?
I think so.
It's like, it's such a simple phrasing. It's like two sons had an alcoholic father drink himself to death, beat them, right? Super violent. And one became an alcoholic, and the other one became like totally sober, great family, like family man, successful. And someone asked them both, like, why did you become this way? And the first one was like, well, I became this way because I saw my father, and then that was just the habits and routines that I got into. And the other one was like, well, I saw my father behave that way, and I decided that is not who I want to be. So I went the opposite way. It's a contrast. Even nuances like what you're talking about. Like, I come from an immigrant family. Like, I look white as hell, gringa, right? Like, my mom's from Mexico, you know, and like my grandfather came over from the Braceto program, and my grandmother raised like probably 4 generations of white kids as a nanny, you know, and like I've watched that whole like transition. I watched how hard they've worked. You know, even my mom like worked so hard, like first as a hairdresser, then as a real estate agent, and like just seeing how hard they work so that we can have the ability to make money from our laptops. You know, like we were talking the other day, it's like, man, those UFC fighters we were watching yesterday, like they get up every day, they get slugged in the face for a living. Like we think our like fires as, you know, like they're hard, they're stressful, but it's nothing as stressful as getting smacked in the face for a living or laying floors, like, and, you know, being on your knees all day, like, you know, laying tile, like it's a very different type of work, right? That like eventually just wears down your physical body. You can only last in that for so long. Yeah. So it's like, that's all of his work enabled and gave you guys the foundation to do this. And like to be able to use your brain, you can just do so much more. You can have so much more impact through the internet and through your own mind than you could just working on house, you know, by house, even though there is something on the other side of that. I just think is so beautiful. I think this whole transition of so many people like wanting to be like YouTube influencers versus like wanting to be architects is like a really interesting transition, because as much as we have a virtual world, we still live in the 3D. We still live in the physical. So the day trades and like, you know, people like your dad, I believe like in the next 20 years are going to be some of the most highly paid, highly sought after people. Agreed, yeah. If we can't replace them by robots, right? Like that type of work, you know, is, it's not going to, like they're going to be incredibly specialized because like they're going to understand that skill and that trade. Yeah. But like, it's going to be very different. There's going to be these cycles. So I just have a lot of like love and respect and admiration for like our parents who work so hard in that way. Cause it's like, they enabled us. Like my grandparents crossed the line legally and illegally to be here. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and like to work so hard and like these low paying jobs, you know, literally like growing cotton and like, you know, being out in the fields, like that's what they were doing. And your dad like working so hard. I think that's probably also why like, we have grit. Yeah. Because I see a lot of kids, like even my girlfriend's kids, they're amazing kids, but they grew up with 2 really wealthy parents, right? So like their level of grit and drive is like different than ours. Watching our parents, like there's no way your parents would have stopped working. They're like, they're here, they have a dream, and they're going to work to provide for their children, and whatever it takes, no matter what it would have been. It would be mopping floors, it would be cleaning toilets, it would do it. Yeah. Right. It's just a very different mentality that I see carried on through your parents. So I know you guys came from Lebanon, right?
Yeah, my parents came from Lebanon.
Yeah.
Built everything from scratch. And then maybe like 8 years into being here, 10 years or so, they sold everything they had, and including their wedding rings.
Wow.
And they took the money and they basically built a business in Lebanon using that money.
Wow.
Like risked it all.
Like, and what happened?
Else. And it's been going for 25 years.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. What is it? What kind of company is it?
It's a water park.
Wow, that's so cool, dude.
They didn't exist in Italy.
Wow, so they built like one of the first ones?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, so
okay.
It's a cool story.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that, I mean, so that also taught me risk. Right?
Totally.
Like, they really bet on themselves. They spent 10 years building a business here. They didn't sell the company, but sold all their assets, like their car, like
wow,
their wedding ring. They borrowed some money from a friend, and they went and like built a water park
in the desert.
2 slides and not in the desert. Lebanon has no desert.
I know, this is why I'm an American, dude. I'm a dumb American. I don't know. We don't know geography.
But all the desert countries had no like pools either.
No pools either.
So like a water park was crazy. So in the summertime, like what you see now is Dubai and all this stuff were just deserts.
Right.
And all these people would fly into Lebanon to go to a water park. They would take like
what?
Yeah, they would come by like busloads from other countries. So you take like greyhounds, like 12 greyhounds from like, you know, Egypt, whatever, Jordan. Example,
so cool.
And like go to Lebanon to go to the water park.
And who's running it now?
My dad's siblings.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and they're here. Are they in Jordan?
They're all there.
Oh, they're all there.
So half the siblings are there, half of them are here.
Okay, cool. But where are your parents? Are they here?
They're both here.
Okay, they're both here.
Yeah, we live like 2 minutes away from them.
And you're the oldest of 3 boys, right? Yeah. I'm the oldest of 3 girls. So I feel like as the oldest, like you probably remember that what they did when they risked it all and they sold their wedding rings. And they did all like you're the oldest. You're probably there.
They, like, sold their wedding
yeah,
rings,
but you probably felt that as the oldest. Like you knew that there were some big changes happening. You knew that there was probably like they're risking it all. There's some level of nervousness, right?
Sure.
To that.
Cool, like we were in an apartment, like a tiny apartment in Norcross, which is like not the best area. We're in a tiny apartment, and then like we're going to Lebanon, like we're laying down cement like a mile wide for like a water park. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah. They're like, these two things do not compute. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah. So, but it's cool. Like, even as a kid, I appreciated everything. Like when I got like a new spoon that was like Dalmatians colored, like it was like the equivalent of me getting like a Lamborghini now. You know what I mean? So like you just had a different level of appreciation for different things based on what you have. And so it was honestly awesome like that. I would not change anything about my upbringing because of it. And, you know, I am who I am today because of that. And I'm still no one, you know, I'm still 30. Like I still got so much more to grow and change. But I definitely learned early on, like I don't know shit. You know what I mean? Every room I'm in, like there's someone that can teach me something about something. And over time that's developed because I definitely had a really big ego in like middle school. I mean, even in college, I had a huge ego because like, not huge, like I was a douchebag and cocky. I was so super nice just the way I am, but like I was definitely a little bit more full of myself. Like, I host like the biggest parties
You're also full of raging testosterone. Right? Like, give yourself a little credit. Like, you know, yeah.
So, but yeah, so now I'm definitely like a lot more like open-minded to things. Everyone I talk to, I try to learn something from, even if it's like, I don't know, an Uber driver. Like, how much does this guy know that I don't know from other things and conversations that he's had, cool people that he's had in the car and all this shit, right? So like, I always look at everything as like some sort of opportunity to expand myself and learn something new about something. People are always like, how does Eddie know like so much about so many things? You know what I mean? Like, ask him something about this. Oh, Eddie just starts riffing on his topics because like, I'm always in a mode of like, how can I learn from someone's like, oh, I do manufacturing for iPhone cases. I'm like, tell me about
it. Yeah, I want to learn more. Yeah.
How does it work? You know what I mean? I'm not like, okay, cool, man, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like most people do. I'm like, oh shit, what else can I learn? You know what I mean? I'm like, this guy has 20 years of experience doing this thing. Like, if I spend 10 minutes talking to him, I would have so much on the subject that like I could talk to anyone about that subject. You know what I mean? And that's come from my dad. He's always been like super curious, trying to come up with ideas and stuff. Like even yesterday, I left here, I got home at 2, and I thought of like a really funny ad concept, and I was like, I have to do this. Like, noted the whole ad concept down. Like, when I come out with it, I'm gonna send it to you. But
I want to see it.
I was talking about, it was like 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, my brain's, I'm like, I don't think I can sleep.
After you watch a vicious fight. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm tired, and then like I get home, I'm like, and I'm like, I gotta do this. So I'm always trying to like, you know, consume and learn and grow, and I think everyone should be like that for sure. You know,
I keep seeing these threads with you. It's just like, you know, identity and self-belief and curiosity like are like things that keep coming up. Like, it's really interesting to me because it's like a consistent thing I see around high performing people. And I keep noting it in my brain. So I'm like, if it keeps coming up from people I love and respect, it's something that people need to be paying attention to. Yeah. Right? It's like woven throughout. And I was telling you last night at the fight, I was like, one thing that I really love about you is we're like newer friends, but like you're gonna be my friend for life. And I've just come to just admire you and respect you so much. Like, I love how you are as a father. Like, I love how you are as a husband. Like, you literally are someone, no matter where we are, I know that your eyes are always there for your wife and your daughters who are coming. Well, I'm going to say daughters because she's not here yet, but right, we're going to say daughters. Yeah, but it's cool because there's also, you know, in this industry, as you start to see people gain a lot of success. I don't know if you were here when Brian Noel started laughing. He's like, I miss my midlife crisis, which is divorcing my wife, moving into a small apartment and getting a 2-seater car, right? Because it's like, but I've seen that, like, and I'm sure you have too in the industry. As people get more success, you know, a lot of them, you know, just destroy their relationships, like, and destroy themselves, and like through that. And I've watched you like throughout or the last few years. I'm like, man, this guy's like always has eyes for his wife, just loves his family, like, it loves his team, loves everyone around him, like such a upstanding, amazing human. Like, we all have flaws. I'm not saying you're perfect. I'm not going to pedestal you because then you're going to have a fall, right? In a lot of ways, you are very perfect, right? But like, I love that. And I also love like being around men like you because I came from a really tough background with my dad. And every time I'm around you or men like you, it's like a very healing thing for me because it helps me, reminds me like none of us can do anything alone. And if we say something like all men are bad, right, or all women are bad, we miss so many beautiful opportunities to grow together and to be like with my male friends like you. It's like, I know that I can come to you and I'm going to get a very different type of advice than I would from a woman. They just think differently, operate differently, and it's so valuable, right? It's so valuable on both perspectives. And I think it's very healing to me to be around you, because I like love and respect you so much. I think it's so cool to watch you buy a chicken place or freaking, like, you know what I mean? Like, anything you do, you're going to do it, and you're going to do it so well. I'm like, this guy is like killing it. Like, I'm like watching you buy all these companies and investments, and like, it's so cool because you still maintain that just like drive and love for your family and like who you are. I think it's just really cool to see. And like, that's one of the reasons why I love being around you. And I hope other entrepreneurs like watch you, because it's like, watch how you are. Like, watch not only what you say, but watch like where you're going, like watch what you're doing. And if they're around you, they're going to see that you're so kind, you're so welcoming, you're so smart, you're so giving, and you're not at, you know, we might be at a nightclub or something, and it's just like, you, like, it doesn't matter if there's any girls there. It's like, doesn't matter. Like, if there are girls that are in our crew, you're talking to them because they're in our crew. But if there's little floozies like coming up, you're gonna be like, oh, hey, what's up, girl? And no, like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just like, they might bump into you with a drink, but you're like, hey, with no big deal. And we're just going. Whereas like, I see other people have very leaky energy in that way. And I've just never seen you have that. And I think that we should be also talking about that part. Like, you're obviously incredibly successful, dude. Like, 200 employees. I don't know how many businesses do you own now? Like, too many to count me. Like so many. But like, you're doing so much, and you can still do so much and make an enormous amount of money, like, and still be a really good human and a really good father and a really good leader. And like, you're 30, like, you are somebody, you are growing it. I want to see what you're going to be like at 40, 50, 60, 70. Like, it's going to be really incredible. And also, just to give you another accolade, like, I love to hear what you talk about your dad, because I think so much of our culture, I don't know about non-Western culture, but certainly Western culture, like, a man is considered to be the most manly because they're the most aggressive, right? Hyper masculine, yelling, like, strong. Whereas like, over there it's even worse. Dude, it's like, I don't think that's strength. I think strength is like, you have the physical strength to throw me through the door or anybody here. Dude, you're like, you stand up, you're like 6'3" at least, right? You're like built, right? Like, you could do that. But I've never heard you raise your voice. Like, I'm sure you do, but like, I've never heard you like belittle or bully. Yeah, it's not there. If you're playing basketball, I guess. Okay, that's where we're here. Yeah, are you competitive? Like in a normal setting. Yeah, but it's like, it's a beautiful thing, dude. I think people obviously watch you for your business acumen, and they should. Right. But I think on the other side, we should also call out leaders in our industry that are also leading their families really well, and like leading them in a way that like actually is something that's a good example for the rest of us. Right. Like, I see you, and I see like Dan Martell, and there's a few other like entrepreneurs in our environment that I've seen the inside and the outside of. And I'm like, they're as congruent in person as they are like on their online like trainings and personas. Like, they are the same. And like, those are the types of people that like, when I look at 4 Rooms and like why I even named it that, it's like, I want to be around successful and ambitious people, period, the end. Because if you're not, it's like, it's gonna be hard for me to be friends with you, right? If we're not in growth mode. But to me, success is not just financial success. If you're only wealthy and you have terrible relationships with your wife or your husband or your kids, like, I don't really consider you very successful. I don't. Like, financially, yes, you check that box. But that's just one box. But it's just one box, right? And so like, all the boxes like are, for me, if I'm looking at somebody that like I want to learn from or be close to or like edify, it's going to be somebody that's checking like all the boxes. And I really see you doing that. So that's why I was like so curious, like who made you, right? Like, who is like the nature part here, right? And then like, how did you also kind of like self-nurture into this new area? Because it's like powerful thing being around you. And I just really love and respect you a lot.
It's illustrated, but that's the highest level compliment that I can receive. And I feel the same exact way about you. And I'm so glad our relationship is what it is now. And I know it's only getting started on top of it too. So blessed to be friends with you and blessed to be a part of it. And on the self-nurturing side, it's definitely a lot of self-nurturing. Like, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on my mindset, my brain, you know, meeting other people. And also how I look at it is I think as humans, we take in a lot of inputs. Like I could ask for the same piece of advice from 50 people in this room, and I might get 45 different opinions on the answer.
Right.
Yeah. It's my job as a human to always understand that I know my situation better than anyone, and I have to mix what they gave me as advice and apply that, knowing certain circumstances that I have that they may not know, and trying to make the best educated decision about it. And I think that's where I've gotten to where I am today, just as a whole. Even I'll tell you on a personal level, like I was on a yacht with my wife and a bunch of other people and their wives. All of them were fit. They're all 40 plus. They're all fit. They all have kids. They all spend time with their kids. They all like have a great relationship between wife and children. Like business is good. Like they've made money. And I asked all of them separately with my wife, like, hey, like if you could go back and have kids sooner or later, what would you do? And without flinching, all of them, every single couple individually answered sooner. Wife and husband. Like they didn't, oh, definitely sooner. That night, I probably conceived my child. I'm not even kidding.
I love that.
I was like, babe, 20 to 20. Like,
that's a lot, especially people that you want to be like, right? Like that's.
We agree, like we
right.
all want to have a six-pack.
You just didn't want yacht sex. It wasn't just a yacht sex. You know, there was a lot of evidence.
But that night, I was like right away on my grab.
Yeah, dude.
Let's do it.
And how has that changed you? Like, because I'm also looking at, like, I'm coming in late at the game, right? I'm coming in, I'm 37, I just turned 37. Like, I really I've always wanted to have my own child, but I had hysterectomy 8 years ago, so I couldn't carry, and like finally found the partner that I want to have a child with. Because like my big thing is I want a child, but I don't want a child so badly that I'm going to bring them in without two parents, right? In this case, it's going to be a two moms, right? But like, again, what we were talking last night, like I also want my kid to be around people like you, because I think it's really important for my child to have really great male role models around them, because I don't want them to just be in a silo. I'm a weird gay person where I'm like, I think they need two great parents. I don't necessarily need to be mom and dad, but also we have a responsibility to make sure that our child also has a great relationship with men, with the right men, right? And so I've heard from so many of my friends too, that like having a child changed their whole life and made them much more focused as entrepreneurs. So like, I'd love to hear from you, like, how has that change affected you?
I would not say a lot more focused, to be honest, because I'm already pretty focused. So like I might be less focused because of it on work, just because I'm thinking about my family. So now, for example, beforehand, I used to like get home, like you with my wife, get back to work. Now I'll get home, not work, spend time with my child. She'll go to sleep at 8:30, and then I'll be like, should I work? But by then I'm kind of like, I'm tired. I don't want to work.
You're also a different level of success. You know, you got a team and like, I
can afford to be a little bit more lenient.
Right. So you've got leaders running the company too. And
for sure, right? But I'm also very involved.
Right.
I think more involved than people even think. Sometimes I should put my calendar like, you work this month.
Why do you think we're growing so fast?
So, but I've definitely become more lenient and more accepting. You know, people are like work-life balance, things like that. Like, I've definitely been better on that front because of having a child. Like Saturday mornings, instead of going and playing basketball with my friends, I take her to the gym. She does her gymnastics classes. Just an example, right? Like Sunday, I'm like, okay, I want to make sure I spend time with my wife. You know what I mean? And we're going to spend, 6 hours together doing this, whatever it is. So I'm doing a better job there. Dinners at night with the family. I want to get home in time for her to eat her dinner and help my wife feed her and put her to bed and doing all these things. Whereas before that, like those things, like I'm like, oh, it's me and my wife, like we're cool, like I'm gonna go play basketball. You know what I mean? Whereas now I'm like, my wife's dealing with her all day. How can I help her take a break? Go get your nails done, whatever it is, right? So that part is playing a role. But having a daughter is also like incredible. Like as a daughter specifically, like being a female, like having to be her dad and like care for her and having our own little relationship that's different than me and my wife's, like makes me a much more like loving and patient person overall. And definitely applies to other areas of my life. So
that's so sweet.
We're gonna keep going with more kids.
Get to how many? What's the goal?
My wife loves an infinite amount of children.
Oh my god!
She's like, whatever God will give me, I'll take. I'm like,
I love her.
I'm like, what's like?
I'm like, wait a minute, are we getting a sprinter van or like what's?
That's fine. She's like 4. I'm like, babe, most cars have 3 seats.
Right.
Like, I think 3.
3 is good. Yeah.
I'm like, there's a reason cars have 3. I'm like, She's like, you should get a bigger car. I'm like, do you want a bigger car?
Do you want to drive that thing?
I'm like, okay, so I don't want either. So who's driving?
Like, we'll just get a Urus. Like, yeah.
Two cars, like, just to take her kids around. So that's my main objection. I'm like, 3, we're done.
Perfect.
She wants more, so we'll see.
Cute. Well, dude, it's so like, I love this conversation. This is my favorite conversation I've done on this one. Like, I just love chatting with you, and I love like digging around in your background, and thank you for being so open. And I could talk to you all day. I think we need to do another one because I have more questions, but I'm getting flagged that we're at time. But I just love you so much, dude. Like, I respect you and like love seeing how much you've grown even the last like 3 years, like, and what you've accomplished. And I'm excited to keep like ride or dying with you and just keep doing business together. And I'm just really grateful. Thank you for showing up, bringing your team, flying them in, and having them help all of us over the last 2 days. It's amazing. Thank you.
As we wrap up today's episode, we have something special just for you. If you've been inspired by what we've explored today and you're ready to take your learning to the next level, then our 4 Rooms Mastermind live event is the perfect next step. And because you're a part of our podcast family, we're offering an exclusive 10% discount on your registration when you apply and are accepted. This is your chance. It's your chance to build relationships with other ambitious entrepreneurs like yourself, to dive deeper into the 4 rooms of entrepreneurship, and to connect with experts who can truly help accelerate your growth. Simply follow the event link in the description of this episode and use the promo code 4rooms10. That's FOURROOMS10 on your application to claim this opportunity. This offer is subject to application approval and it's limited, so don't wait too long to make your decision. Join us and transform your journey with the insights and networking that only our live events can offer. Thank you for tuning in today. We look forward to seeing you at the event and, of course, right back here next time on the 4 Rooms podcast. Until then, keep balancing and keep growing.